Hello everyone, welcome to Nesso Academy. In this lecture, we are going to understand a very popular and important topic in machine learning, that is data preprocessing, which is also the fifth step of machine learning pipeline. So the topic for this lecture is data preprocessing. Till now in the machine learning pipeline, we have understood the problem definition, data collection, basic data cleaning, and data splitting. Now it's time to understand data preprocessing and feature engineering. So the fifth step of machine learning pipeline is data preprocessing and feature engineering. In this lecture, we will only focus on data preprocessing. In the upcoming lecture, we will also understand about feature engineering. So what is data preprocessing? Data preprocessing means converting the data into a format understandable by machine learning algorithms. It simply means that data preprocessing is the process of preparing the data, or I can say converting the data into a format that a machine learning algorithm can understand. Obviously, the next step in the machine learning pipeline is to select the machine learning algorithm. That is why we need to convert the data into a format that machine learning algorithm can understand, and that is known as data preprocessing. The major operations of data preprocessing are handling the missing values, handling the outliers, feature scaling, and categorical encoding. Now, before understanding each of these operations one by one, I want you to note a very important point. The point is that pre-processing rules are only learned from the training data. Pre-processing parameters are only calculated from the training data and not from the testing data. Why? Because we need to keep the testing data unseen from the machine learning model. That is why pre-processing rules are only learned from the training data. And that is why, while explaining you all the operations of data preprocessing, I will only consider the training dataset and I will not consider the testing dataset. We will explore more about this concept after we completely understand data preprocessing. So the very first operation in data preprocessing is handling missing values. That means we need to handle the missing values, or I can say we need to replace the missing values with the proper logical value in the dataset. This process is known as imputation. Now, for example, I have considered the training dataset of house price prediction system. And in this dataset, you can see there are total 3 missing values. This one, and this one. So there are total 3 missing values, and we need to replace these 3 missing values by any proper logical value. This process is known as imputation, as I have already told you. Now, imputation is of 3 types: mean imputation, median imputation, and mode imputation. Let's first consider this particular column, that is size SQFT. This value is the missing value, and these 4 values are present in the dataset. Now, we will try to perform mean imputation on this particular column, that is size SQFT. So, we need to calculate the mean or the average of the present values. 4 values are present in this column: 1800, 2200, 1500, and 2000. So, how to calculate the average? 1800 plus 2200 plus 1500 plus 2000 divided by 4, and it comes out to be 1875. So we will replace the missing value with 1875. This is known as mean imputation. Let's perform the same mean imputation on this column also, that is age years. So 5 plus 12 plus 20 plus 8 divided by 4, it comes out to be 11.25. So we will replace this missing value with 11.25. This is known as mean imputation. Now, do you think we can apply mean imputation on this garage column also? No. Obviously, garage column is a categorical column, or I can say it is a textual column. It has no numbers. That is why we cannot calculate the mean or average. So in such case, we can apply mode imputation. Now what is mode? Mode means the most frequently occurring value. So in this particular column, you can see the total number of yes is equal to 3 and total number of no is equal to 1. So the most frequently occurring value is yes, obviously. So we will replace this NaN, that is missing value, with yes, that is the mode value. So in this way, we have understood how to handle or replace the missing values in a given dataset. And as I have just explained you, this process is known as imputation. Mean imputation and median imputation are used for handling the missing values of numerical columns, while mode imputation is used for handling the missing values of categorical columns. Like we have calculated the mean, you can apply the formula for median also to perform median imputation. Now, the next operation under data preprocessing is handling outliers. Now, what are outliers? Outlier is unusual value that may appear in the dataset. What is the meaning of unusual value? Outlier is a value that is very different from the other values of the dataset. For example, in this column, that is bedrooms, the values are 3, 4, 3, 2, 3. These values looks very normal. But suppose instead of this 3, if it is 200 or 2000, then it would be an outlier. Why? Because all the values are very close to each other, but 2000 would be an outlier or an odd one out value. Because number of bedrooms in a particular house can never be 2000. So that will be an odd one out value, which is very different from the other values of the same column. That is why we need to handle such values, which is known as handling outliers. Now in this particular data set, you can see there is no such unusual value. In this column, all the values looks very normal. In this column also, all the values look very normal. That means there is no outlier. But just to explain you, I will add one more row in this particular data set. Focus on this row. I have added this new row in this data set. Now you need to focus only on this value, which is 150,000. Now this value is considered as an outlier in this data set. Why? Because you can see this value looks as an odd one out for this column, that is size SQFT. 1800, 2200, 1500, 1875, 2000 looks very close to each other. But this 150,000 is very large. That is why it is an odd one out or an outlier. So we need to handle this value. Now how to handle outliers? There are 3 methods to handle outliers: keep, cap, or remove. Let's first understand what is keep. As the name suggests, keep means that we need to keep this row even if it is an outlier. But why? Because after proper analyzing the dataset, we have found that this value, being an outlier also, is a genuine value. Maybe this house is a luxury house. That is why the size of the house is very large. So even if it is an odd one out, or even if it is an outlier, this is a genuine value. That is why we cannot delete this value and we need to keep this value. In this way, we have handled the outlier by keeping this entire row. Now the next one is cap. What is the meaning of cap? In cap operation, we set a fixed limit for a particular column. For example, for the column size SQFT, if I set an upper limit as 2500, then all the values above 2500 will be capped to come to the value 2500. That is the upper limit. This is known as cap operation. Now the last is remove. Suppose the value in the data set is clearly an invalid value. Like you can see that the size of the house can never be this large. This is clearly an invalid value. In such cases, we will delete this entire row from the dataset, and this is known as remove operation. In this way, we have understood how to handle outliers in the given dataset. Now, the next operation under data preprocessing is feature scaling. Now, what is feature scaling? Feature scaling is the process of bringing the numerical features or the numerical columns within the same range or the same scale. For example, in this particular dataset, what are the numerical features? Size SQFT, bedrooms, and age years are the numerical features or the numerical columns, because these three columns contain only the numerical values, while location and garage are the categorical columns. So while considering the feature scaling, we will only take the numerical columns, size SQFT, bedrooms, and age years. Now you can clearly see that size SQFT has larger values, while bedrooms and age years have smaller values as compared to size SQFT. That means right now, these three columns are not in the same scale or the same range. So we need to bring them within the same scale or the same range by applying the feature scaling. The technique of feature scaling that we are applying here is known as standardization. So these three are the numerical features, and now we are going to apply the feature scaling technique known as standardization. Now in standardization, we calculate z-score. The formula for z-score is z equals to x minus mu upon sigma, where x is the original value of the feature. If we consider the size SQFT column, then these are the original values or the values of x. If we consider bedrooms column, then these are the original values. If we consider age years column, then these are the original values or the values of x. Now mu is the mean of the feature. For size SQFT column, what would be the mean? When we add all these values together and divide by the total number of values, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, so when we add all these values and divide by 5, we will get the mean for the feature size SQFT. In similar way, we can calculate the mean for bedrooms also and age years also. Now, sigma is the standard deviation. In statistics, we understand how to calculate standard deviation. So we need to calculate standard deviation also for each of these features. Now, z is the scaled value. Z is the value that we need to calculate. That is the scaled value for all these values. So now we will consider the first feature, that is size SQFT, and we will apply this formula to calculate the scaled values of all the original values. But before applying this formula, we must first calculate the mean and standard deviation, that is mu and sigma, for the given feature. I have already calculated these values, and you can also calculate by applying the formulas for mean and standard deviation. The mean or the value of mu for size SQFT column is 1875, and the value of sigma, that is standard deviation, for size SQFT column is 231.30. Now we can take one by one all these values, and we can put these values here in place of x one by one to calculate the scaled values corresponding to these original values. So first we will take 1800. Now here you can see I have put 1800 in place of x, and mu I have just calculated, it is 1875. The value of sigma or the standard deviation is 231.30. And finally, after performing this calculation, the answer is minus 0.324, which is the value of z, which is the scaled value of 1800. So in place of 1800, we can put minus 0.324. And in this way, we can calculate the scaled values for all these original values. Similarly, we will apply the same procedure on bedrooms column also and age years column also. But note the point that you need to calculate mean and standard deviation for bedrooms. Only then you can apply this formula for all these values. And similarly, you need to calculate mean and standard deviation for age years column first, and after that you can apply this formula to calculate the scaled values for all the original values. So after calculating the scaled values for all these original values, we will get the table like this. So these are the scaled values according to this formula for all the three numerical features of the dataset. Now the dataset looks like this. Here you can see in size SQFT, age, years and bedrooms, we have the scaled values instead of the original values. Now these values are in the same range or the same scale. That is known as feature scaling, or specifically in this case, standardization. Now we will move towards our last operation under data preprocessing, that is known as categorical encoding. Now before understanding what is categorical encoding, let's first understand what are categorical features. So categorical features or categorical columns are the textual columns which contains text and not numbers. In this particular dataset, you can see the location column and the garage column don't contain any numbers. They contain text. That is why location and garage columns are known as categorical columns. As I have already explained you earlier, that machine learning algorithm cannot understand text. It can only understand numbers. That is why we need to convert or encode these text values into numbers. And that is known as categorical encoding. Encoding of categorical columns into numbers. So now we will perform categorical encoding on the garage column as well as on the location column. First, we will start with the simple column, that is garage. As you can see, the garage column has only two types of values, yes and no. So which type of categorical encoding scheme will be used to encode the garage column? Obviously, binary encoding. As the name suggests, binary encoding will convert yes into 1 and no into 0. And our garage column looks like this. This is known as binary encoding, which is just one type of categorical encoding. Now, the next categorical column is location. In this particular column, you can see there are total 5 different values: Manhattan, Tokyo, London, Paris, and Dubai. Which means binary encoding will not work here properly. So we have to apply a different type of categorical encoding here. So the categorical encoding scheme which is most suitable for location column is one-hot encoding. So now we will take the location column and now we will apply one-hot encoding. One-hot encoding converts this location column into the collection of 5 different columns: is Dubai, is London, is Manhattan, is Paris, and is Tokyo. Why 5 columns? Because in location column there are total 5 different values. And you can see all these columns are binary columns. Why? Because all these columns contain only 2 types of values, 0 or 1. Now 0 means the absence and 1 means the presence. So the first value is Manhattan. So you can see only Manhattan is present and all other are absent. Similarly, the second value is Tokyo. So you can see only Tokyo is present and all other are absent. Similarly, for the third value, that is London, you can see only London is present and all other are absent. For Paris, only Paris is present. For Dubai, only Dubai is present and all other are absent. So I hope you have understood how to apply one-hot encoding to a categorical column. Now, when we integrate these 5 columns in our dataset in place of this location column, our dataset looks like this. So this is the final dataset that we have got after categorical encoding. Now in this dataset, all the features are numerical features. There is no categorical features in this particular dataset. And this dataset is now appropriate to be given to machine learning algorithm. So in this way, we have applied 4 operations under data preprocessing: handling missing values, handling outliers, feature scaling, that is standardization, and last, categorical encoding, in which we have studied binary encoding as well as one-hot encoding. Now, if you remember, in the beginning of the lecture, I have explained you that preprocessing rules are only learned from the training dataset. Now it's time to understand the reason behind that. The reason is data leakage. Yes, to avoid data leakage, or I can say to avoid the leakage of testing data information into the training process, pre-processing rules are only learned from the training dataset. Let's understand this better. Pre-processing steps sometimes calculate values from data such as mean, median, mode, minimum, maximum, etc. We have just seen that during pre-processing steps, sometimes it is required to calculate mean, median, mode, etc. from the data. So, if we calculate these values using the whole dataset before splitting, then information from testing data also enters the training process. This is called data leakage. So right now we are calculating these values from the training dataset only. But if we calculate these values using the whole dataset before the splitting of the dataset into training and testing, then the information from the testing dataset will also enter the training process. It is same like leaking the question papers before exam, that is, leaking the testing data information into the training process. And this is known as data leakage. To avoid this, pre-processing rules are learned from the training dataset only after data splitting, and same rules are applied to testing data also. That means to avoid this data leakage, first we need to divide the complete dataset into two parts, training dataset and testing dataset. Only after that, pre-processing rules will be learned from the training dataset. And after pre-processing rules are learned from the training dataset, same rules will be applied to the testing dataset also, but after learning it from training dataset. This is the concept of data leakage. And now I hope you have understood why we perform train test split before data preprocessing. In this way, we are done with our topic, that is data preprocessing. In the next lecture, we will practically implement the operations of data preprocessing. So this was all from my side for this lecture. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next lecture.